CiPELT is a pre-service and in-service teacher training program for teachers of EFL that covers the core issues in primary language teaching, foundation and intermediate phases, and resource development. It is divided into 3 modules: Ready, Steady, Go. The CiPELT Trainer Orientation Program, TOP, is one course covering the delivery of all 3 CiPELT modules.
The British Council is the United Kingdom's cultural relations organisation, working in over 110 countries around the world. One of its core aims is to provide high-quality English language learning to ministries of education, teachers and learners worldwide. In South Africa, the British Council is working in close partnership with the Department of Basic Education on a quality improvement program for teaching English first additional language in primary schools.
The quality of the results that we get from the learners depends on the quality of teachers that we have. And the quality of teachers that we have depends entirely on the quality of support that they get from the curriculum advisors. CiPELT is intended to provide support and training to curriculum advisors so that they are able to provide quality support to our teachers and improve the quality of teaching and learning at the level of the classroom. It is therefore imperative for all officials to ensure full and effective implementation of CiPELT so that we improve the quality of the results from the foundation phase up to the senior phase, which will impact, hopefully, at the exit level, which is grade 12.
Another core component of the British Council Department of Basic Education program is the introduction of CiPELT, which is the Certificate in Primary English Language Teacher Training. This course is an extremely practical course which is aligned to the South African curriculum and also to the department's rainbow workbooks. It has the potential to This is session 1, orientation and introduction. The learning outcomes of this particular session will be that the participants will have met the trainer and the other participants, discussed the CiPELT course and the CiPELT top course, stated what they know about EFL, reviewed the pre-course task, listed the CiPELT documentation, and discuss the role in the project.
I hope that the information that you're going to gather here will cascade to the level of the classroom, because the overarching goal is to make sure that improve performance at the level of the classroom.
Let's get real with our children.
When I'm teaching him to read, how do I teach him to read even in the geography class? How do I teach him to read even in the workbook on life skills in the foundation phase? How to? And if nothing else, you've got to leave here on Friday with a how to.
Yeah, well, I think the strength of CiPELT is it's how you do something, and I think what you have here in South Africa, I think you do actually have excellent systems in place, and you have materials, and teachers are trained, to a certain extent. But I think what's learned at university and in colleges is the what, and I think this course actually offers the how teachers can actually implement effective learning, and that's what it's about. It's about how learners can actually learn effectively.
We need to move on now.
Session 2, how children learn, concepts and cognitive development.
The aim of Session 2 is Look at the key points of adult and children's motivation in their learning styles. To become familiar with the key points about learning styles and multiple intelligences. To consider that learners will already have some knowledge of the topic, prior knowledge. To become familiar with concepts and cognitive skills which children develop. To discuss the importance and place of the L1 in both training and classroom situations. To identify concepts and cognitive skills in course book activities.
Now, the thing that we're looking at today, we know that your CAPS document talks about and identifies things around conceptual skills. And so it's important that we talk about conceptual development. This session is a little bit different insofar as we're just going to do some background before we do the practicalities about how children learn. We need to know how children learn, and so the activities that we're going to be doing, you know all this stuff, okay, but the activities that we're going to be doing today are activities that are taken from CiPELT, okay, that teachers need to know, and so therefore the activities that I do with you today are activities that you would do with teachers in the CiPELT course to raise their awareness to how children learn and about cognitive development.
Session 3 approaches to grammar learning and teaching.
The aim of Session 3 is to raise awareness of how children learn their mother tongue, to raise an understanding of how children learn their mother tongue, to help raise the awareness of when and where to begin slowly introducing grammar concepts, to familiarize participants with the concept of total physical response, TPR, by involving them in a game of Simon Says at the level of learners, to familiarize participants with the idea of teaching language in chunks of meaningful words, which can then be built upon to introduce further chunks, to help participants identify the key steps of successful interactive drilling techniques, to help the participants understand the importance of developing their creativity, which is a key underlying theme throughout the course.
Fluency comes before accuracy. What does that mean? It means that we will allow our learners or our children to speak as much as they can because they are practicing the language. And we are not really emphasizing on how accurate are they? Are they using the perfect grammatical structures and so on? But as long as the message is carried through, and we want them to be in an environment where they are comfortable. We don't want to make them to feel like, hey, I've made a mistake.
For every single grade, you have got a phonics section, phonemic awareness, that your learners need to be.
Session 4, Finding and Making Resources.
Session 4, Finding and Making Resources. Use props to build motivation and creative oracle activities. Make useful, inexpensive resources with recycling. Make simple books. Manage the art and craft environment. Why use puppets and masks? They're fun, and learners are motivated because they made their own masks. Learners can hide behind the mask and become someone else. All learning styles will benefit from an activity that includes puppets and masks, develops motor skills, develops creativity and imagination, develops cooperation, concentration, and confidence.
Hello, what is your name? My name's Jack. What's your name? My name is Joe.
Oh, that's nice. And how old are you?
I'm 6 years old.
Oh, I'm 7. I'm 7. And let's be friends.
Okay, we can be friends.
Good. Good. All right. Goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Learning outcomes. By the end of this session, the participants will have discovered some advantages of using Session 5, Literacy and Developing Reading.
The aim of Session 5 is Literacy and Developing Materials. Introduce visual literacy before textual literacy. Learning to read is best done through a multi-sensory approach. Learner-made resources and publisher materials should be used. Phonetics is a crucial part of learning to read. Link the letters in the English alphabet to English sounds. Stimulating reading texts will develop fluency. Familiarize participants with the sequence from early literacy acquisition to developing reading skills. To familiarize participants with phonemic literacy strategies, phonics is crucial in teaching children to read.
You have got to have a range of material.
Making learning memorable through games and songs.
The aim of Session 6 is to be familiar with concepts of experiential learning, to familiarize participants with a game for learning grammar, to familiarize participants with 2 songs suitable for different primary grades, to understand that rhymes and chants can also be used to make learning memorable, to show the advantages of using songs, rhymes and chants, to show the concept of demonstration lessons in the CiPELT training course.
Most songs, rhymes and chants must have repetition in them. Why? Especially in a primary course book. Why? Because the learning is in the repetition which is often in the song, and the learning is in the repetition that the children are going to do it again and again and again and again.
1 little, 2 little, 3 little numbers, 4 little, 5 little, 5 little numbers, 4 little, 3 little, 2 little numbers, 1 little number, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1 little, 2 little, 3 little numbers, 4 little, 5 little, 5 little numbers, 4 little, 3 little, 2 little numbers, 1 little number, 1.
Okay. Now that has some music to it, so we could call that a song. Okay. So in your groups now, put on your teacher hat. Okay? You are teachers. You are going to teach this song to some children tomorrow. Okay, and you're going to plan your actions. And you're going to use your hat, obviously. Yeah? I don't want anybody doing anything that's not with their hat. Okay, so in your group, can you just practice? You've got the tune in your head, or do you need to hear it again? You've got the tune.
Session 7, Classroom Management in Large Multi-Grade Classes.
The aim of Session 7 is: what is it that you want to happen in your classroom? What is a stirrer and a settler? What activities are used to stir and to settle? What is the link between clear instructions and good classroom management? Develop a lesson plan that you will understand, with a terminology that is familiar to you, to understand factual, interpretive, critical, and creative questioning types.
So we're beginning now to get an understanding that actually it's not the children that are being naughty, it's to do with their reaction to the activity going on. This is normal for children to become bored. It's the same thing to dogs.
Copying can be good, And I say that the only thing that copying is good for is handwriting skills. If you want to get them to have nice handwriting skills. Otherwise, it's actually, I always think, a lazy teacher's, okay, I need half an hour quiet.
Session 8, Writing Integrated Skills and Projects.
The aim of Session 8 is familiarize participants with directionality. English is a language that is read and written from left to right. To create a reason to write by designing illustrations on non-textual books. To familiarize participants to a task that includes all 4 linguistic skills and soft skills. Make a valid project web that is age and grade appropriate. Interest and language level to be considered. To ensure that participants feel the stress of having to write alone, without support, and contrast this with a scaffold activity. To evaluate the sequence of process writing as a valid approach to teaching writing.
Definitely. I've learned that because of the fact that we are struggling to get our learners to write sentences, to make up their own sentences and write them down on a piece of paper. And I've learned, like yesterday, that there's a process that needs to take place before you get the child to actually write a sentence. So I'm more empowered now to get my teachers to that point, to learn those kids that we start from a certain point, showing them an object maybe, and then discussing the object, writing only one caption, and then a few more captions, and then at the end, write down the idea or the story.
Session 9, Diversity in the Classroom and Assessing Learning.
The aim of Session 9 is manage and celebrate diversity in the classroom. Reflect on your views on diversity and different additional needs. Increase understanding of appropriate strategies. The purpose is also to ensure that the learning environment is as conducive and as stimulating as possible for all learners. To ensure responsiveness to different levels at which learners operate. To maximize participation of learners in learning activities.
I think what matters is that learners are different, and we all learn in different ways. And in this course, there's been a lot of discussion about learners' needs, about issues like different learning styles. There's been a concept of actually multiple intelligences. And I think that this is all really important, that the understanding that we have to actually teach learners in the way that they learn. Now, one important aspect of that is that
Session 10, Putting it all together.
Session 10, Putting it all together. The aim of Session 10 is moving the training and support forward, completing portfolio tasks, and evaluating the training.
The whole week.
Using this, the CiPELT program, what the department has showed that one, the CiPELT program is an international partnership with the British Council, and what we are saying is that this CiPELT program, and I know it will succeed, I'm quite confident about its succession, that what it will augur for other international partnerships of this nature. And I think the other one that is very critical for us as a system is the strengthening of the teaching of mathematics in the early grades. So if literacy works for us, then definitely we'll use the same model for mathematics. So it's very, very important for us to ensure that CiPELT is cascaded to teachers and it benefits our learners.
What we'd like to see is that provinces diligently take up the information and the material that we've developed in this program and make sure that it reaches all of the teachers in a way in which teachers feel comfortable and equipped to be able to deliver the curriculum to learners.
From day one, actually, I was thinking, what is this CiPELT? How am I going to make it work? And my main concern was, what is it that makes CiPELT different from what I know and what I've been teaching all these years, practicing? And today I can look back and say that I really know something now, because I know that my CAPS document or my CAPS policy is then my content, in other words, the what, and then CiPELT is the how, the method. So I've learned a lot in terms of methodology, because you know, there are times when you've been practicing things for quite a number of years and it didn't work. Now I can look back during this week, I've learned that there are some new methods that I can apply, and when you look at CAPS and you look at CiPELT, the two can definitely match and get married.
And I mean, I didn't think of all the things that we learned here. So I've learned a lot on how to really support teachers and to get them where they should be.
I've learned a lot on the language chunks and also very informal way of introducing grammar, which I think is basically for intermediate phase, and a very informative and informal way of using games and rhymes.
The first one, they've addressed different learning styles, that when you plan your teaching, you need to know your learners quite well. You need to understand their different learning styles, and your teaching and all the methodologies